Now, this is not the first time that those of us at Insomniac have said this, but today it was big news. So I did want to confirm it face to face that we are not moving on with the Resistance franchise.
Resistance's time as a series seemed to be limited, even when the first one was just released. It just didn't feel fresh enough, important enough, nothing blew you away about the series. It seemed to lie on the back of other franchises with its own little spins, and the second game brought gameplay elements in from other games of the time, whilst removing the more interesting, unique aspects. Resistance 3 is absolutely a step in the right direction, taking what they learned from Resistance 2, whilst also reversing some of those gameplay decisions that irked me so much from the second game. Let's dive in. Graphics same, soundtrack same, let's continue. Story-wise, things are more interesting. Resistance was bare bones boring, and Resistance 2 was nonsensical yet better. Resistance 3 is definitely the best of the trilogy. Continuing on from Resistance 2, Resistance 3 tells the story of the companion to Hale at the end of the game, Corporal Joseph Capelli. Capelli murders Hale at the end of the sequel because he had turned into a chimera. Capelli has been dishonorably discharged from the force and ends up living a low-key life with his wife and son. However, Dr. Fyodor Malakov has other plans and wants Capelli to assist him to New York to try and save the world from destruction. This is not an original story, this isn't particularly interesting, and honestly, Capelli is a better lead than Hale, but still doesn't impress. His devotion to his wife and son seems particularly one-note, despite it being a more honorable, in my opinion, reason for doing what he is doing. However, it is a motivation. Hale's motivation seemed like a blind faith in his mission, a completely brainwashed soul seeing his mission out to the end. Capelli has a reason for doing what he is doing. It isn't much, but it's something. That's not what makes the story interesting. So I recently played through The Last of Us. It's an incredible game, and I was kept so interested in it not only because of the survival story, but because the people in between, not the zombies, the people, were interesting. Were living interesting lives, and the scenarios Joel and Ellie found themselves in, because of associating with these people, made the whole package, the journey, more engaging. Resistance 3, to a much lesser extent, manages the same thing. Not only is this a story of survival against the Chimera, but also a story of Capelli, the Doctor, Herbert, Mick, especially Mick. Just having these extra characters in there, these human characters, makes this so much more interesting, and the whole runtime more bearable. Resistance 3's story finally pushes something in the series, besides the stellar gameplay, into great status. Speaking of, the gameplay is as phenomenal as it has ever been, and even more so because of the re-edition of the original mechanics. The weapon wheel is back, the health pickups are back. Clearly, Insomniac must have realized restricting us of these was not beneficial. Other than these crucial re-additions to the gameplay, Resistance 3 plays as good as the original or the sequel. This is the same Resistance you have always known, but with the addition of a story that is actually pulling you through the whole thing. Resistance 3 is easily the series' finest game. The gameplay is as good as ever. Everything has been ironed out, and crucial elements have been added back in. The story is as engaging as it has ever been, and though Capelli may be slightly one-dimensional, it doesn't take away from the moments that had me genuinely surprised in the series. Resistance 3 takes elements of both of games prior and turns it into a great game worth picking up for more than just curiosity. This one is mandatory to play at least once if you own a PlayStation 3.